You are exactly where you're meant to be. Right now. Right now. Everything about right now is exactly where you specifically intended to be and how at this moment. And I know, I hear the thoughts, I hear the protest in my own mind of, but it doesn't look the way that I want it to. Check in with what part of you is expressing that want. Because it's probably mixed. There's genuine desire in there, but there's also just a lot of judgment of saying it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to be this way. No, how could I want this? This is terrible. I would never want this. Well, your soul wants a lot of things that your mind doesn't think you want. Your soul wants experience. All experience. Your soul wants to go through things. Your soul wants to taste every flavor of sensation that is available in this realm. And you're learning. All the while you are learning and growing, and your desires, your preferences are being updated, and all of that is being taken into account and used to update and integrate into your plan for this experience. But nothing is going wrong right now. Even if you're in a place where you feel like you don't want to be, the rest of you is so excited to be there because it's just right. It's just right. When you're just about to reach the top of the mountain and you come to this sheer wall that looks like, well, now there's nowhere to go. This isn't where I want to be. I want to be at the top of the mountain. You're almost there, but you can't see it until you get to it. And the place right before reaching the precipice is the perfect place from which to reach the precipice, right? You're not going to jump from mountaintop to mountaintop. Not yet, at least. We're not quite to that point. Because we're still learning from the experience of climbing. And more than that, the experience of descent, of reaching a peak and seeing another one in the distance that you then want to get to. But again, you can't jump from here to there. You got to go back down the other side of the mountain. You're going down again, and you feel like you've lost ground because you're no longer at this high point, and you can't see the same way you could see from there. And it feels like maybe you've gone backwards, but you haven't gone backwards. You're still moving forward. You are still moving exactly the direction. You are in exactly the place that you want to be at that moment. None of that has changed. And we want this experience so that we understand how to hold that light in ourselves, how to maintain that faith that even though I can't see anymore where I'm going, because I went back down, I descended again into the darkness, that doesn't mean I've made a mistake. That's not a misstep. I'm not off my path. I am still exactly where I'm meant to be. And I'm still headed towards everything that I desire. This is a part of moving towards my desire. This darkness, this confusion, this feeling of being lost. It's a part of my plan. I planned this for myself, and nothing has gone wrong. And I feel like it's especially important to reiterate that right now, because there's all this talk of we're moving into ascension, we're moving into the time of increased stability, but it keeps going like this. We keep saying, yeah, we're almost there, and then we hit this sharp descent again, because that's a part of it. Because it's not just a steady upwards path. That's the trend. The trend is upwards, but there's all of these troughs happening along the way, and they're important. Every time we hit a trough, we're purging more stuff. And because we're purging more stuff, we can hit a higher peak after the fact. That's what's happening. And we get a little bit higher, and then we purge more stuff. And every time we do, we go, oh no, we lost it. We were right there. We thought we were right there. We were right there. We could see ascension because we were at a peak, and we could see clearly from the peak. And then we dipped back down again, and now we can't see it. Now we don't know where we're going. Are we even going to get there at all? What are we doing here? Take us back to the peak. We want to see again. That's not how it works. We'll get back. We will get back to a peak. Right now, we're in a trough. But this trough is not the same. Every trough has been new. Every trough is a little bit shallower. It feels deeper because it's more pure. It's more intense. It feels like we're plummeting. We've reached that really high high that we've never felt before. So then any amount of descent feels like just somebody flipped the lights off. Darkness seems so much darker when you've seen how bright the light can be. That's okay. Nothing has gone wrong there. We're just practicing. We're still doing everything exactly right. Everything is happening the way that it's intended to, and you are exactly where you want to be. And ego, the mind, doesn't want to accept that. I get it. The mind doesn't want to accept that. But if we can recognize that it's the mind that's rejecting that and not the rest of our being, then we can accept the mind's rejection and include that as a part of this experience. Just hang in there. It's a little more than that. I know that's what it feels like. What that really means is surrendering, right? It feels like we're maybe trying to keep our head above water. And what's the best way to keep your head above water? It's not to tread water. It's certainly not to flail. Every person who's swum in the ocean has some knowledge about that. The best way to keep your head above water, if you feel like you're drowning, is to just float, is to relax, is to take a deep breath, is to actually let most of your head be underwater. Because you only need this tiny section to be at the surface for you to be okay. So that's what it is. It's a surrender, and it's a trust that what you need is given to you. You are never going to be without that which you need. So anything else that leaves is not something you need. Anything that is taken away is removed so that it can be replaced with something improved. That is true. The universe does not take away anything that it's not setting up to give to you in a new way. But just get back to the bare minimum, essentially, which doesn't mean you're accepting less. It just means you're accepting what is as what is. And you stop focusing on need and you start focusing on want, actually. You start focusing on joy. You realize everything that I truly need, like air and water, is given to me, even if I don't know where it's coming from. Even if I am someone who does not know where my next meal is coming from or where I'm going to get clean water to drink. I am trusting, I am believing, and I am accepting that it is delivered to me. And if there is anything else other than that, if I am in a state of physical transition at this moment, then that too is the best thing for my being. That's really, really challenging for the ego to accept. That's not a bad thing. That's what it is. That's really hard for the ego to accept, that even something like physical transition is not a problem. Because that's everything that it's been programmed to avoid. That's what it's programmed to avoid. Ego, the mind, is programmed to keep this physical vessel alive and functioning. And that's really important because that's what allowed us to stay alive long enough to start experiencing some things and really learning some lessons, to develop consciousness to the point that it has. That's neither here nor there. Get back to desire. Recognize that all of your needs are met. If there is something that you feel you need, go and get it for yourself. And anything that you do, let it be done because you want to. Let that be your reason. This is a separate part of the message. but something else that I feel is it's important to me. It's important for my experience right now. And so I believe it's important for the experience of all of the collective at this moment. Being good at something is not the reason to do that thing. It's not a reason to do anything. Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should do that thing. Anything that you do because you want to. And then it doesn't matter what your particular performance is as graded by others or your internal critic on any given day. Do the thing that you like doing. And some days people are gonna love it. Some days people are gonna fucking hate it. Some days you're gonna hate it because the voice of that internal critic has come back and said, I'm not good enough at this. I'm not good enough to be doing this. I'm a fraud. I'm an imposter. I'm a failure. I should just quit. I should just give up. I should give people their money back if there was money involved. I should just stop. But then you remember, I'm not doing this because I'm good at it. I'm doing this because I want to. That's it. And whether or not people like it or give me money for it has no bearing upon my continuing to do this thing. I'm doing it. I am choosing to because it brings me joy. That's it. So then whatever you're doing, some days, some people are going to say, this changed my life. And other days, people might say, this ruined my life. And you're full of shit. And if you're doing that thing because you're good at it, or you think you're good at it, or somebody told you were good at it, then that's going to really affect your inspiration and your feelings about continuing to do that. You're going to feel overinflated or you're going to feel deflated. So don't let either of those things influence your doing. Just do the thing that you want to do because you want to do it, and let that be the reason. Let your joy and your pursuit of that joy and your delivering yourself that joy by your own choosing be the entire reason for your doing. And then it never matters if you're good enough. That's not why you're doing it. You're not doing it to be good. You're doing it because you want to. You're doing it because it feels good. And it feels good because you want to do it. Again, that's a very important point, because we can derive this sense of satisfaction from being told we're good at something and then meeting some expectation of performance. That's not genuine good feeling. That's all an illusion. That is the thinnest, most artificial version of satisfaction that exists. True satisfaction comes from within, and it comes from doing something because you want to do it. That's it. Just keep that in mind. So do the things you want to do. That is something I am embracing right now in choosing to get back into reading tarot, reading energy, doing personal development, shadow work with people. I'm doing it, and I'm going to do it, not because I'm good or was ever good at it, because maybe I'm not, but that doesn't matter. It brings me joy. What matters is that work and involving myself in those experiences brings me such an intense and deep and visceral soul level satisfaction. That's why I want to do it. That's why I choose to do it, not because of results, not because of what anybody says or feels about it, not because someone thinks I'm great, not because somebody thinks I suck. None of those things are remotely relevant to my choosing to follow my bliss. I do it because it feels good to me. And when I embrace it in that way, I recognize that there are no mistakes. Thank you to my partner for having this discussion with me just before recording this video. We were talking about painting, which she is very good at, but is not the reason that she paints. She has this intuitive style of painting that is all about the truth that there are no mistakes. You're in the moment, you're present, you're just following the feeling. And that is how I approach reading tarot. and energy and working with people. We're just open to this experience, and as we're entering into it, we hold this awareness that there are no mistakes. Nothing can go wrong here. Whatever happens here is right. And it doesn't have to fit a framework. It doesn't have to look like anything. Even if it ends up with that person saying, "You're full of shit, this didn't help me at all, screw you, I want my money back," everything went right. Everything went right. I'm trusting that. I'm trusting to that level. That is exactly as it should be, and actually is to the benefit of all. And it's no skin off my back, because I'm not doing it to please somebody. I'm not doing it for validation. I'm not doing it for a pat on the back, or for somebody to say, "Wow, great, this helped me so much. You're so amazing. You're so good at this. Thank you for doing this." That's not what I'm doing it for. So it's the same for them to say that as it is for them to say, "You're a charlatan and you should never do anything like this again." It doesn't matter, because I'm not doing it for them. I'm not doing it for their approval. I'm doing it because it feels good to me, and I'm going to do what feels good to me. That's my power. That's what I have control over. I have the power to please myself, and I choose to exercise that power for the delicious satisfaction of that. So that's it. Take it easy. Everything is happening exactly as it should be. Take a deep breath. There is always air for you to breathe. Even if it doesn't feel like it, come to a place of stillness, just briefly within yourself, and you will find that there's more than enough air for you. And just do what you want to do, and let it be done because you want to do it, not because you're good at it, not because you were once good at it, not because you might one day be good at it. That has nothing to do with anything. Do it because you want to do it, because it satisfies you, because it feels good to you, and that's it. And then no matter what happens, you are in control of your pleasure. None of it affects you. There's no statement about your well-being or your worth or any of that shit. You're doing what feels good to you because you want to. And you're free. You're free. That's all I have to say. And I trust that this message resonates, but it also doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it does. Because really, I am walking in circles outside the place that I work, in full view of however many people, construction view across the street, coworkers inside wondering what the hell I'm doing, why I'm not working. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It doesn't matter if anybody likes this video or this message. It doesn't matter if anybody likes me. It doesn't matter if anybody sees it. It doesn't matter if I'm hated for it. None of that matters. I felt a thing. I wanted to do it. It's feeling good in the doing of it. And that's it. Circuit complete. Satisfaction delivered. And I feel good. And that's all that matters. Go feel good. I love you.